Hello and welcome to ID Comms Media Snack, episode 66.
Nice.
Sick. Coming up, are cracks appearing in the walled gardens?
We'll share some thoughts on a webinar we managed this week.
And we'll look ahead to the ANA's big media conference next week. Hello and welcome to ID Comms Media Snack, episode 66. So we've got a lot to talk about today. First off, in the kind of aftermath, if you like, of Marc Pritchard's speech at the IAB a few weeks ago, which we reported on and many others have been talking about, we're seeing the walled garden, Google, Facebook, starting to make some concessions on measurement.
That's right, yeah. And we conducted a webinar around Marc Pritchard's barnstorming speech, and we'll provide an update on how that went.
Yeah, and also looking ahead, next week is the ANA's big media conference of the year, and of course lots of these things hang over that, and in fact Marc Pritchard is there speaking, as am I. All coming up on today's Media Snack in just the time it takes to eat a sandwich. Great, right, well let's start then in this aftermath of Marc Pritchard's speech. And if you haven't seen this, we'll link to it, please watch it. And also our previous episodes where we've really talked about what the implications of that might mean. Mm-hmm. Marc Pritchard's action plan included a really strong call for greater verification, and better quality measurement. And he was quite critical of the walled gardens, what's perceived as the walled gardens, particularly the stranglehold that Facebook and Google have, that they've been perhaps marking their own homework, and that it needed a bit more clarity. So everyone was looking to see what would Facebook do, what would Google do in response, and they're doing so.
That's right. So both Facebook and this week Google have allowed the MRC, the Media Rating Council, to go and audit measurement in both of their platforms, which is a remarkable turnaround, given that for such a long time they haven't allowed anybody actually to go and verify any of their kind of measurement data. So I mean, a massive coup, I think, for Marc Pritchard and the impact that his speech has had on the industry already.
And they've both come out with quite similar statements. Some of the best quotes are that, amongst the various reporting, I mean, that Facebook said that they plan to provide more granular data to third-party measurement partners. So, and they list Integral Ag Science and Moat, and there are others. So it was a big commitment. That came out very quickly. Facebook said they were going to move. And then Google have said that the MRC are going to audit the way that 3 independent metric companies, so for them, Moat, Integrated Ag Science, and also Double Verify, I think those are the 3 main ones, the way that they collect data on viewability. Interestingly, the best quote I love was a guy from Google was interviewed, I think, in the Wall Street Journal, who said that, this is nothing new, we've been thinking about this stuff for ages, our statement today has nothing to do with industry pressure and not related at all to Facebook's recent announcement, just purely coincidental. But anyway, good progress. We'll look to see more of that. And I guess we'll revisit, I think, as these things become even more clear from those big media platforms as well.
Absolutely. And so, related to the Marc Pritchard speech, we conducted a webinar earlier this week that invited a number of clients of ours in to talk about the implications of Marc Pritchard's speech and how they should perhaps approach addressing some of the challenges that he set out. We got 3 brilliant subject matter experts to also contribute to that. It went down very well.
Yeah, it was really good, and it'll be, I think, the part of the series of a number of things like this that we're going to do, because what Marc said was so interesting and so important, just given his kind of status as, if you like, as the most senior marketer or the most influential marketer in the world, that it presented, of course, it answered lots of questions, but it presented lots of other questions. Most importantly, what does that mean for me as a marketer?
Absolutely.
And what should I be doing about it? So that's the premise of the webinar. Again, we'll provide you with links where you can access the full recording and the video of all the slides and the voiceovers. The primary talking point was trying to give marketers some structure for managing how to approach these 5 action points.
That's right.
And so we structured that out in a, what do you do in the first 2 weeks, then 2 months, and then what should you be thinking about the 2 years ahead, which is really a strategic planning framework for marketers.
Yeah.
And then because there were specific, quite technical challenges that Marc had made, we brought in three people onto a guest panel as part of the webinar to answer questions around measurement of viewability, contract compliance, and also the tag verification, which was an interesting one.
It's really, really helpful. And I mean, the announcement now that both Facebook and Google have allowed their walled gardens to be penetrated was actually one of the kind of key questions that came through one of the marketeers. So it's fine for P&G with all of their kind of spending muscle to go and force change with these big platforms, but what do I do if I don't have that sense of leverage or that power? Well, actually now, I mean, through Marc Pritchard's speech, he's forced change, and everybody will be able to benefit.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, I think, is marketers going, how is this going to impact me?
Yeah.
And we're seeing now with Facebook and Google opening themselves up, that's for everybody.
Right.
This is when we said this is a hugely important speech.
Yeah.
This is why, because it's going to change the game for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, next week is the ANA's big annual media conference, and again we're going to talk about Marc Pritchard. We can't get away from talking about Marc. Marc, as you'll probably know, is the new chair of the ANA, and he's going to be doing the keynote speech at the ANA's media conference next week in Orlando.
And you're also speaking, aren't you? You're on a panel.
I am on a panel, so I'll be in Orlando. If you're going to be at the ANA media conference, I will see you there. I've been invited to sit on a panel to talk about the impact of media pitches and how that's been kind of innovating and evolving in the context of a lot of this stuff, I think.
Of course, it's February, right? What did we refer to?
Last year. Yeah. Well, if you've been a long time viewer, hi Mum, you'll know that last February we did an episode which we called Fatal February.
That's right.
Because it's this time of year. I mean, pitching is very pertinent because it's this time of year when everybody's in planning phases of pitches, typically, and so it feels kind of quiet out there, but for us it's manic, kind of getting ready and planning stuff.
So there's a lot of preparation going on for reviews that I think will launch at the end of Q1 going into Q2. So I think it's going to be a very busy middle part of the year. Yeah.
So next week Marc will be delivering some form of speech or maybe on an interview. I understand it might be on an interview basis, but I mean there's so much focus, global attention on what he's going to say as a follow-up, and I think can expand some of these kind of fundamental principles of media. So I'll be reporting back from the conference. Follow us on Twitter and stuff, and then when I get back, we'll talk about it a bit more.
Look forward to it.
Okay. So anyway, thanks for watching. That is all for this week. Bye for now.
Have a good weekend.